Good morning, everyone. And welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to those of you online with us this morning also. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, the community spiritual leader here. And you are welcome here. That's the song we're going to be singing this morning with our guest musician, Lauren Mayer, who is back with us today.
Hi.
And just before we do that, I'm going to invite you to stand and walk around and say good morning to each other. So introduce yourselves to people, remind people of who you are, welcome people you haven't met before. Just take a few minutes and we'll call you back. And for those of you online, give yourselves a hug. You are welcome here too. I want to remind you that Lauren Mayer is an award-winning singer-songwriter, and she specializes in writing and performing topical comedy tunes. I don't know if she's doing anything funny for us this morning, but we'll find out soon. And her most recent hit, the Sexual Harassment Prevention Song, has gone viral with more than 2.7 million hits on Facebook. She started playing the piano at age 3. And discovered her love of comedy songs shortly thereafter. She is also a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Yale, so this woman's no dummy, right? She's a 5-time recipient of, yes, that deserves applause. Thank you. She's a 5-time recipient of the San Francisco Cabaret Gold Award, as well as other numerous honors. And despite all these impressive accomplishments, her mother still can't figure out why she didn't go to law school. So, if you will, please stand and join me with Lauren Mayer for You Are Welcome Here.
And this is not one of mine. This is a Karen Drucker standard. You probably all know this. Is the track going?
Track?
Whoops. I'm plugged in. It's playing.
So
the joys of technology.
We invoke the spirit of Karen Drucker and Harold Payne, and there they are, who wrote this.
Let me get back to the beginning now, because I'm going to lose track wherever you are. There we go.
Okay.
And this, you have to dance to this. In case you don't know it, it's you are welcome here. 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 You are welcome here.
You are welcome.
Our arms are wide open. There's room for everyone. Wherever you're going, wherever you're from, you are home. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Let's boogie. You are welcome here. You can even shimmy to this one. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Here's the verse. Whatever you've been through, you found us somehow. Wherever you are on your journey now, you are home. You are are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are so welcome. You are welcome here. 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 You guys sound so great. You're welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Let's switch it to I. I am welcome here. I am welcome here. I am welcome here. You make me feel so welcome, welcome here. I feel so welcome here. I am welcome here. Switch to we. We are welcome here. 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 Now back to you are welcome here. Last chance to dance. Here. You are welcome here. You are so welcome. Let's disco. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. You are welcome here. We kind of have to fade out with the track. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here.
All right, you may be seated, and please go ahead and silence your cell phone so it won't interrupt our process, because now we're going to move our attention within. And so I want to invite our morning prayer practitioner, Lori Greer, to come up to offer that opening prayer.
And so, taking a breath. Taking a breath to remind myself that there is only one life, and it is the life of God. The one life that is filled with all power, all beauty, all joy. The one life that breathes itself through every living thing, through every non-sentient being, through every form. It lives and breathes through every idea, every possibility, through every grain of sand, every star in the sky, every blade of grass, all of it, God. And I am one of its creations. I am one of the places where it pours itself forth. I am one of the places where its love is infinite and forever flowing. And as I speak my word in the first person, I invite each one to know the same for themselves, because each one of us is a divine, unique expression of the divine love. Each one of us a place where the infinite intelligence of God is being revealed in each moment. And so I open right now. I open in mind. I open to a shift in consciousness, to a greater realization, a greater awareness of that one life that is truly, truly bringing forth every good thing that my heart desires. And so in this opening, in this shift in consciousness, I release and let go of everything that does not serve that greater good being revealed. I let go of doubt and fear. I let go of thoughts that don't serve. I let go of thinking, and I allow myself to be. I allow myself to simmer in that consciousness of God, to rest in the presence and the peace and the power, and to feel the divine flowing through my veins, throwing through my consciousness, just bringing me to a point of awareness that shifts my life in some way, that brings forth a greater realization, a greater recognition of what's always there, always available. The truth, that the infinite intelligence is guiding and directing me in every moment. Where there is confusion, I turn away and I turn toward the clarity and the perfect knowing that aligns with that greater good being revealed. And so I claim for myself, and I claim for each one, that same realization and that same recognition that we are one with that good. We live in it. We live in it, and it continues to unfold and to reveal to us the perfect way, the perfect opportunity through things that don't look like that, but they are. Every single thing that's happening in my life is a pointer. It is a directional guide showing me where a new choice can be made. And so I keep my spiritual eyes open. I keep my spiritual ears open to hear, to see, and to understand and to know the truth of my being, that there is more good for me than I can even imagine. And so I give thanks for this shift in consciousness. I give thanks for the demonstration of that greater good being made manifest in my life in amazing, surprising, and powerful ways. And I know that I am deeply, deeply blessed. And so I give thanks for the demonstration. I give thanks for the manifestation of this good. And I release my word now, and I simply let the law do its work. And I just watch it unfold, participate in it with joy and thanksgiving, and I let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Lori. And this is actually a song I didn't think would relate so much to the blessing that I just heard, but talking about things you wouldn't think are pointers or reasons for gratitude. Fits this song. Here we go. Oops. Yeah, hang on a second. Okay. My kids are a little older than when I wrote this song, but I think any of you who've just dealt with chaotic lives, whether you're a parent or not, might be able to relate. And if you want to get up and dance to this one too, you can. My house is really a sight. There's junk all over the floor, and there are times I think I can't stand it anymore. But I got a bit of sleep for at least for today. Mama's gonna be okay. Feels like I live in my car, which is an absolute mess. But when I asked the kids to pick up the back, they said yes. Went to Target for them and scored myself some cute shoes. So Mama isn't singing the blues. Finally got the dog to stop biting, and the kids went half a day without fighting. Sure, I've got chores to do and bills to pay, but it's the little things that make my day. I'm always broke and behind. This is a difficult gig. Feels like I'm working my tush off, but it still feels twice as big. But I went for a walk and now my jeans aren't so tight, so Mama's gonna be all right. Actually had time to make dinner. What a shock. And I found this crock pot recipe that's such a winner. Lentils and rice, it's yummy. My life's chaotic and usually stressed, but there are so many times I feel blessed. I just got over a cold and I can breathe through my nose, and there are daffodils for $1.29 at Trader Joe's. The kids are in bed, I poured myself a glass of wine. Mama's gonna be just fine. I shopped at TJ Maxx, you know that place is such a hoot. Mama's feeling real darn cute. I get to sing and worship with you, so for today, think I'm gonna be, oh yeah, I'm gonna be, oh mama's gonna be okay. Yeah.
It's always good to know Mama's going to be okay, because there are days when she's just not sure. Sometimes more than one. If you have pets or kids or grandkids, you know exactly what that's like. And speaking of parents, I want to share this little story with you as we get started this morning. Today, I'm actually talking about the importance of our core values as a community. And one of the ones we chose was community. A family is a community. And this is a story about a mom and a son. So John had invited his mother over for dinner. And during dinner, his mother couldn't help noticing how beautiful John's roommate was. Now, Mom had been suspicious for a while that there was actually a relationship between the two of them. So this made her even more curious, watching the two interact over the course of the evening. And reading his mother's thoughts, John volunteered, "I know what you might be thinking, Mom, but Carrie and I are just roommates." Well, about a week later, Carrie came to John and said, "You know, ever since your mom was here for dinner, I've been looking for our beautiful silver soup ladle. You don't think she did something with it, did you?" "I doubt it, but I'll email her just in case." So John wrote his mom the following note: "Dear Mom, I'm not saying that you did or didn't do something with the silver soup ladle, but it is odd that it disappeared after our dinner together. Do you know anything about that?" And later that day, John received an email response from his mother that said, "Dear son, I'm not saying that you do sleep with Carrie, and I'm not saying that you don't, but the fact is, if she were sleeping in her own bed, she would have found the ladle by now. Love, Mom." Yes, moms were kids too, right? So in that living out loud theme that we have for this year, which really is about letting ourselves stand in our truth and be visible and be authentic and be who we are, we're also looking at why our core values matter this week. Because we chose them and we defined them several years ago. And although they appear on the bulletin every Sunday and other things that are printed, we don't go into them very often. And I want to take some time to do that this month especially. So let's start with the question of what core values are anyway and why we have them as we come into this series. Glenn Stewart said, "Values are the deeply held beliefs that drive and direct your behavior." So when we're looking at individual core beliefs, they're those things that really are so true for us that when they get breached somehow, we feel violated or angry or frightened or unhappy because those things are that important to us. John Wooden, the famous coach, said, "Good values are like a magnet. They attract good people." So when we are living from our values, we have our own kind of magnetic field that draws people that feel similarly, that value things similarly to us. And Jeffrey Immelt said, "Values can't just be words on a page. To be effective, they must shape action." So the idea in us identifying core values in the first place was that we would, as a leadership council and as a spiritual community, have a certain set of guidelines that help us then to determine, to make decisions, and so on. And the first core value, the thing that got the most votes of anything when we were looking at values, was community. Now, the idea of a beloved community is something that was put forth by a series of people. First of all, started with a man named Josiah Royce, who was a proponent of absolute idealism. And he was speaking about a beloved community as the way that a larger community behaves with fairness and compassion and kindness. And that view was expanded on by Howard Thurman and then Martin Luther King Jr., who was influenced by the ministry of Howard Thurman. And looking at the beloved community, if the world itself became a beloved community, we would likely stop being so afraid of each other. We would likely stop finding reasons to be offended by each other and instead be more forgiving and compassionate, more inclusive, more aware of treating one another with respect and making sure that the community was as well cared for as individuals want to be, to prioritize a balance between the individual and the community. So that was the idea, generally speaking, of a beloved community. And so when we take a look at the values, we're really looking at something that becomes like a compass that helps us stay focused on true north, that helps us align our decision-making and our behaviors. It gives us principles that we together feel are important and that are descriptive of who we are or who we aspire to be as a community. Roy Disney said, it's not hard to make decisions once you know what your values are. Because as things arise, you get to look at those things and feel, not just think, but also feel whether or not this is a reflection of what you truly believe is important, or if it's a diversion that might be more popular, might be perceived in a better way, whether it's better or not. So we want to choose principles that we think are of central importance to who we are and who we want to be. And then they also become guides that help to move us in the direction that we wanted to go toward whatever the destination is, whatever the vision, the mission is that we want to live in the world, that those values become guides that help us do that. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, we would defeat the very purpose of life should we live in a continuous state of meditation or prayer, oblivious to the objective world. Let me say that again. We would defeat the very purpose of life should we live in a continuous state of meditation or prayer, oblivious to the objective world. In other words, we have to be engaged somehow. And he goes on to say the practical values of spiritual perception remain latent until objectified. In other words, they're dormant until we do something with them. Any attempt to isolate oneself from the world of action is contrary to the order of the universe. We look at the physical universe and everything is moving and changing all the time. That's its nature. As practical religionists, he says, we seek to make our dreams come true, and unless our dreams are subjective hallucinations, they will become actual experiences if we demonstrate our principle, which is that true ideas pass through to accomplishment. So what we envision, what we hope for as a community, we want that to come forward into being. And to that end, our core values illuminate the tools that we want to use to evaluate suggestions or initiatives or projects and determine if they reflect those values or not. Another piece of making core values is to recognize that not everything is ours to do. So for an organization of our size, if we're doing what every other spiritual organization in Marin County is doing, we're kind of missing the point. We're here to work together in concert as a larger community of faith, I guess, but at the same time, each one of us should have things that we're really and truly good at and that our values support us doing or bringing further forward in our livingness. It's not enough just to go, okay, we have found this place, we have learned this thing, and now we just rest in that. Well, why be on the planet if that was it? You never get there, wherever there is, right? We continually are living, changing, evolving, growing, hopefully. So our community has 4 core values that we've identified: community, spiritual growth, love, and integrity. And so I'm starting today with community and talking about that particular value and what it is. So in one place on the internet, if you ask what community is, you get this long, meaningful but long definition. So community is a feeling and a set of relationships formed and maintained to meet common needs. So, for example, you have a community of friends, but within your community of friends, you have various circles, some of which may overlap. So you might have a community of bird watchers within your friends, but not all your friends are bird watchers. You might have a community of knitters, or a community of meditators, or bike riders, or moviegoers. And within that circle, you might have some people who overlap who are family, or some people who overlap who are friends, or colleagues at work, or people that have been neighbors of yours, either currently or in the past. And those circles are part of your larger sense of community. But each one of them is a group that was formed and maintained to meet whatever the common needs are. With knitting, maybe you just enjoy making things and giving them away. Maybe you get together and you cook for the homeless and those foods get distributed. Maybe you volunteer at the Marin Food Bank and those foods go out. So you are part of a larger community in those senses, right? And then it says they come together to meet common needs in trust, belonging, safety, and mutual caring, in which members influence their environment and each other through shared experiences and history. So this community, this spiritual community, some of the people who are members here have been members for decades, some since almost the very beginning, the founding of it in 1983. So over those years, people who've been members for a long time have grown in their connections to each other. The sense of community has deepened. People have become friends. Some have gotten married or gotten into long-term relationships. In Ideas of Power, Ernest Holmes said, "Love is the only final security in the universe. Love is the greatest healing power in the universe and the only thing that binds people together in a community of spirit." So we are what we call a spiritual community. Are we bound together in love? You know, in the Gospel of John, it's said that Jesus said, "Love one another as I have loved you." What does that mean? It means forgiveness, patience, modeling, kindness, humor, inclusivity, and teaching one another and supporting one another. So when we come together as a beloved community, our intention is to welcome people who come in, new people and old people, people we've known a long time and people we haven't yet met, and to make a space that feels safe and comfortable and welcoming. John O'Donohue said, "The hunger to belong is not merely a desire to be attached to something. It's rather sensing that great transformation and discovery becomes possible when belonging is sheltered and true." And so we are really built for community. We're not built to be alone. The clue, look at the planet. We're constantly producing more people. You know, if we were meant to be alone, we'd each have our own planet. But we would never really grow in the way that we grow when we rub up against each other, in harmony, in delight, in celebration and pleasure, and also in friction. We sand some of the rough edges off each other, even while we want to take those creating friction and stick them over there somewhere. There is a reason why we stir things up in communities, because we need to grow, we need to evolve and change. And if we don't do that, something will happen to change us, like the pandemic. Certainly, that was a worldwide invitation to change, a worldwide invitation to shift perspective. And for a minute or two, we actually recognized that we were one planet of human beings dealing with the same issue. Mostly, we kind of recognized that. And that was really something, because it became one of the common things that all the countries of the world were trying to cope with somehow, beyond our borders, beyond our languages, our ethnicities, our customs, our beliefs and religions. There was this common experience. It wasn't excusing any country or group of people from experiencing that invitation to repent. In other words, to think again, to come back again. Starhawk, the Native American pagan teacher, says community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. So we want the spiritual community to be a place that allows people to authentically be themselves. And one of the things I have appreciated about this community is that we have members that sometimes are more fringe in their appearance or in the way they interact or something. And generally speaking, this congregation tends to be quite embracing of folks in their different ways of being. That's something I love about this community, this congregation. And so at Golden Gate, we defined community for ourselves this way. We said, it is a welcoming place of belonging where spiritual growth is supported and shared. So let's break that down a little bit. A welcoming place, right? So what we want is for each one of us, when we come in the door, when we get started on a Sunday morning, or when we come in online to a group or a class, to feel welcome from our very first moment. That's our intention. And if we are engaged as community, then we're looking out for those folks that we want to welcome, that we want to be the invitation to be a part of the larger spiritual community. It's a welcoming place of belonging, so that somebody that comes in can hopefully begin to feel like there could be a place for them here. Now, I've had people say to me, everybody in your congregation is so much older than me and my friends that I feel a little awkward coming, or a little awkward bringing my friends. And I think that the reason that's true is because we have a tendency to relate to people who resemble us in some fashion. We know we have a certain amount of shared history with those folks. We have some similarities in our world experiences that we've gone through, so we relate to each other. And when folks who are younger come in, they have an impression of what an older congregation thinks, where they're stuck, what they might think about looking at somebody younger. At the same time, they're looking at the older folks and having certain, maybe false impressions of what it means for somebody to be living in a spacesuit of this age instead of a spacesuit of a younger age, right? I have said before, and I think it's true, that as we get older, we actually become more and more incognito. We're no longer recognizable as the essence of what we look like when we're in our prime, but people think of that as, at least in Western cultures, tend to think of that as the ideal, and the rest of it as deterioration. But you're the same person inside this appearance that you were when you were 10 years old, or 25, or 40, or whatever age you might be now if you're older than that. Yeah? Are we together here on this? Is this making sense so far? Yes. One of the fellows that studied Martin Buber talks about the reverence for one another, the kind of namaste consciousness of the God in me greets the God in you. And he called it the I-thou relationship, where there is a seeing of peers, of colleagues, of community, of connection. So this fellow says, in a mature, and he doesn't mean old, in a mature I-thou culture that values we, or community life, people are no longer committed just to their own interests, outcomes, and well-being, but to the relationship, common good, growth, core values, and the performance of the we. You and I matter. People matter. Between and among us is the space for creating a better world where God's electricity connects, transforms, and flows. I'm not enough alone. You're not enough alone, but we with God are enough, whether together or apart. I would say when we recognize ourselves, when we really recognize ourselves, we begin to see ourselves everywhere we look. That there is no I that isn't we. The we is I. The I is we. It's connected. This is one. So we're an atom in that oneness, this spiritual community, or an organ in that oneness. And as an organ, we have a function to be healthy and also to support the rest of the one in doing our part. Does this make sense? Like the organs in the body, the lungs, the stomach, the heart, the brain, they all have their job to do. And if one of them decides to do the job of another one, we're immediately in trouble. Fortunately, they don't do that. They stick to their own role. They stay in their lane. Although there are some cells in some creatures that will transform themselves into something else if needed. There are some creatures that can change their gender, not just because they woke up one day and realized they were a different gender, but because within their environment, there's not enough of the other gender. And so in order to help ensure the continuity, they switch. I don't know what the mechanism is that tells them to do that. If it's, okay, I'll volunteer to do that, or if it happens automatically, or if it's the oldest ones, I have no idea. But there are beings that are capable of doing that. And within our bodies, there are certain cells, particularly fetal cells, are capable of becoming any kind of cell they need to be. That's rather amazing. And yet, as our cells slough off and are discarded and new ones are produced, in a healthy body, they stay where they're supposed to be and do what they're supposed to do, and they know what kind of cell they are. A blood cell does not think it's a liver cell. A kidney cell does not think it's a brain cell. Now, there are illnesses where cells get confused, and they go where they're not supposed to go and take with them stuff they're not supposed to take to that other location. That's an imbalance taking place somehow in the system. But what we want as a spiritual community, then, is to be healthy and to have all the cells within us be as healthy as possible as well. So we are a welcoming place of belonging, and then we are providing and using the tools, ritual, spiritual practices, and offering mutual support for this spiritual journey that we're all on. And a spiritual journey just means being alive. If you're alive, you're on a spiritual journey. Because, from our perspective, you were here in existence before you decided to inhabit this particular spacesuit. And when this spacesuit is used up and you set it down, you'll be off onto other things. So that essence is always on its spiritual journey, unfolding and evolving and becoming more. That's the value of being in spiritual community. Now, I was lucky. I've always been in spiritual community. I was born into a Catholic family, and so as a little child, I remember going to Mass on Sundays. I remember going to special kinds of services and learning special kinds of prayers. When I was very little, and I was at a service once where they were doing a litany, which is the priest names saints one by one, or expressions of God, and the people respond, "Have mercy on us." And so I was saying that. But in my mind, mercy on us was one word. Have mercy on us. I didn't know what it was, but I knew how to say it. It was only later that I realized that was more than one word and what it actually meant. But I was in a spiritual community. So when I began to become motivated to look beyond those roots, when there was something within me that recognized that that path didn't fit me anymore, where was I going spiritually? I started to look for things. And the first thing I wound up with was A Course in Miracles. And that the people that studied A Course in Miracles from this particular spiritual human potential group I'd gotten involved with, they were doing rebirthing, and they were using A Course in Miracles, and so I kind of got involved in that, but there was no regular meeting, like consistently every week, and I had always had that. So although I recognized that I wasn't Roman Catholic, I wasn't sure what I was, but I wanted spiritual community. I was hungry for it. So I went looking for spiritual community. And I found Science of Mind, which absolutely blew my mind. Why? Because that minister stood up on the platform in front of all of us as a minister and said that God was in us, that God was everything, everywhere, always, all the time. And no lightning struck him. Now, in my heart of hearts, this made sense to me. But at the same time, I never expected to hear a church say that. He said that Jesus was the great example, not the great exception. In other words, yes, Jesus is the Son of God, and all of us are sons and daughters of God. That Jesus was like a big brother, showing a particular way and trying to teach us and encourage us. That to me was mind-blowing. I remember the first time I went to this human potential movement retreat. One of the facilitators had a series of tapes on the product table, and one of the package sets of tapes, the title of it was, "You Are the Christ." Oh my God, I couldn't even look at that. When I walked by the table, blasphemy, it was like, oh my God, I can't go there. I can't even think about that. That's like way out there, When the movie The Exorcist came out, I never went to see it because I had read the book, and I didn't want to see it because I had, as an acting student, I had a great capacity for suspension of disbelief, which means that scary movies were really dangerous for me because it meant I had to spend the next week turning all the lights on, looking under the bed, hunting in the closets, and making sure I was safe. Anybody else have that kind of thing around horror movies? So I never went to see The Exorcist, but anytime the theme song came on the radio, I would start to sweat, and I had to change the station. So this devil thing was big in my consciousness, right? So you are the Christ. Oh, no, can't look at that. It took a while for me to understand, really, that Christ is an inner experience of oneness with everything and a recognition of that divine presence of God expressing as me. Not that I grasp that. I mean, there are people who are truly awake, who know it, who live from it, but not so many. Maybe more now than there ever were before, but still not so many. The rest of us, we are opening up a little, waking up a little, and at the same time, kind of torn between that view and the more popular, common view of separation, of fear, of sin, of anxiety, and so on. So we want to be able to grow inwardly, individually, but we also want to be able to move forward and be more and go deeper as a community. How do you sustain a spiritual community? What does it mean to sustain a spiritual community? Howard Thurman said, community cannot for long feed on itself. It can only flourish with the coming of others from beyond, their unknown and undiscovered brothers and sisters and siblings. So everybody that comes in the door is part of sustaining the community, and they have something to offer simply by being here. If this is your first time here, you are a gift to us, because the energy that you bring with you brings a new element into the experience, even if this is the only time you're ever here. And as we are breathing in and out, we're literally exchanging molecules with each other. So when we leave here because of you, all of us are changed, and so are you, because we are doing that exchange. This particular group of people here this morning, we have never had this exact group of people together before, and likely we never will again. This is a unique moment. And so even though we've been in this room many, many times, and lots of things have happened here, and the building hosts all kinds of stuff that doesn't have anything to do with us, that energy remains here as well. We are experiencing a moment that's never happened before, right now. Now, what possibility in this moment could we individually and collectively take hold of? How do we not only sustain, but deepen community? George Bernard Shaw said, "This is the true joy in life. The being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. The being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy." He said, "I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me," he went on. "It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations." See, we're still here, so we're still holding that torch. Now, we may think that as a community, we have less energy, less time, less interest, and our torch isn't burning quite as brightly. But that is an illusion. That's not the truth. Our energy, our time, our interest may be different, but because of the history we have, both as individuals and as a community, and because of the experiences we've shared, we have a very bright torch that is still burning brightly. And from it, there's plenty of room for more torches to be lit and carried out into the world. We all carry that with us when we leave on Sunday into our individual lives. And what we want to do is make a difference by doing that, by carrying that forward. Make a contribution to the world that matters. It's not that they have to know that Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living was here in Burma or England or Russia. They don't need to know that. And yet, our intention, our presence can matter. Now, one thing we can certainly do as a community is pray. Ernest Holmes said, "We believe more in prayer than any class of people on earth." So, he was speaking of a specific form of prayer, our form of affirmative prayer. And we begin to teach people how to do that in foundations class, but it takes time and practice to do that prayer in that particular way that isn't a petition, an apology, a bargain, a negotiation, a trade, a begging or supplicating, an apology, oh, you're so wonderful, you're so marvelous, please don't do anything bad to me, worshipful kind of thing. You know, as I used to pray as a little Catholic girl on the softball team with no mitt, standing out in right field going, please don't let the ball come to me, please don't let the ball come to me. I was in right field for a reason. And then, you know, when we were out, being up with my team, you know, waiting on the bench, thinking, please let us be out before I come up to bat. Please let's, because I couldn't hit either. Yes, that kind of prayer is not what we're talking about, right? Why would God let this terrible thing happen to these good people? And then being mad at God. No. The infinite lets us have free reign. We're here to learn. That means we get to make terrible mistakes and try to figure out a way out of them without something rushing in. I mean, we love superhero movies because they always survive and they always win. And we want that. But we each have to be our own superhero. And we as a community need to be a superhero for each other and for those that come in the door. That's part of how we sustain this. Henri Nouwen said, community is first of all a quality of the heart. It grows from the spiritual knowledge that we're alive not only for ourselves, but for one another. Community is the fruit of our capacity to make the interests of others more important than our own. The question, therefore, is not how can we make community, but how can we develop and nurture giving hearts? I love that. How can we develop and nurture giving hearts so we sustain this community through love, which is one of our core values? I'll talk about that one in a couple weeks. And also another one of our core values, integrity. We want to be trustworthy with one another. And also by our participation. Now, we don't always have to have a lot of time or physical strength to participate. We show up for things. We pray for each other as well as ourselves. I mean, I hope that you take time during the week to pray for our leadership council and for me, for our guidance, for our clarity, for our courage, for our groundedness in spirit, for our good decision making, for our open-heartedness, for our stamina, because we certainly all could be blessed by more of that. Yeah? Pray for the larger community that we are, that we wake up more, that our hearts are more giving, more open, that we're less fearful and feel safer, and belonging and welcome is a part of who we are and how we are with each other. I want to tell you a story about participating. When we participate, we become the invitation. We bring our patience and compassion. We are actively inviting and inclusive. So here's a story about someone who decided to take action, to participate. Hang on just a second. I'll take a quick drink. So, whoops. Tess was 8 years old when she heard her mom and dad talking about her little brother, Andrew. They said he was very sick, and they were completely out of money. In fact, they were moving into an apartment next month because Daddy didn't think they would have money for the doctor bills and their house. She heard her daddy say, "Only a miracle can save him now." Andrew needed a very expensive surgery, and it was looking like there was no one who would loan them any money. Tess went into her bedroom and pulled the glass jelly jar out from its hiding place in the closet. She poured all the change out onto the floor and counted it carefully, 3 times. Total had to be just right, no room for mistakes. Carefully putting the coins back in the jar and twisting on the cap, she slipped out the back door and made her way the 6 blocks to the Rexall drugstore. At first, she waited patiently for the pharmacist to notice her, but he was very busy talking with another gentleman. Finally, she twisted her feet to make a scuffing noise. Nothing. She cleared her throat with the most disgusting sound she could muster. Nothing. Finally, she took a quarter from her jar and banged it on the glass counter. That did it. "And what do you want?" the pharmacist asked her impatiently. "I'm talking with my brother here from Chicago. We haven't seen each other in ages," he said, without waiting for a reply to his question. "Well, I want to talk to you about my brother," Tess answered back in the same impatient tone. "He's really, really sick, and I want to buy him a miracle." "I beg your pardon?" said the pharmacist. "His name is Andrew, and he has something really bad growing inside his head, and my daddy says only a miracle can save him now, so I want to buy one for him. Now, how much does a miracle cost?" "We don't sell miracles here, little girl." "I'm sorry, but I can't help you," the pharmacist said, softening. "Listen, I have the money to pay for it. If it isn't enough, I'll get the rest. Just tell me how much one costs." The pharmacist's brother was a well-dressed man. He stooped down to her and asked, "What kind of miracle does your brother need?" "I don't know," Tess replied, her eyes welling up. "I just know he's really sick, and Mommy says he needs an operation, but my daddy can't pay for it, so I want to use my money." "How much do you have?" he asked her. $1.11, Tess answered. "It's all the money I have, but I can get more if I need to." "Well, what a coincidence," smiled the man. $1.11. That's exactly the price of a miracle for little brothers. And he took her money in one hand, and with the other, he grasped her mitten and said, "Take me to where you live. I want to see your brother and meet your parents. Let's see if I have the kind of miracle you need." That well-dressed man was a neurosurgeon. The operation was completed without charge, and it wasn't long until Andrew was home again and doing well. Mom and Dad were happily talking about the chain of events that had led them to this place. "That surgery was a real miracle," her mom said. "I wonder how much it would have cost." Tess grinned to herself. She knew exactly how much that miracle cost. $1.11. You see, it wasn't a matter of Tess thinking, "I'm too little to do anything about this." She didn't let that stop her. And if she had let it stop her, maybe there wouldn't have been a miracle. It wasn't that she was enough alone, but that she wound up in the right place because of her intention to participate, because of her intention to make a difference with what she had. And that's all that's asked of us, that we participate at a level that allows us to use what we have to contribute, to participate, to enhance. One thing everybody can do is pray for our spiritual community to be welcoming, to be giving and loving. That we can all do. And that's how we sustain the beloved community. Namaste. A moment now to anchor this in prayer. We turn within, knowing there's only one, right here, right now. It's always absolutely whole, absolutely full of potential and possibility, needing nothing. It contains all power, potential, possibility within itself. And it is right here in me, in every one of us. So I speak the word, and I speak the world. I speak the word for Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, and all of us who are part of it, wherever we may be in the world. And this includes everyone who has ever been a part of this community, in the body or out. Knowing that we are led and guided into deeper love, greater self-acceptance, greater community, love and participation, recognizing the power we have been imbued with to speak the word of truth, of wholeness for our community and for our world. Because this power is within us, we can affirm the truth that we are individually and collectively whole, complete, and perfect. That anything unlike that is dissolved because it is temporary show and not essential truth. But what lasts and manifests itself through us and in us is this essential truth of wholeness that has never left us. This essential love, intelligence, beauty, power, life that has always been the essence of who and what we are. We're grateful to know this is true about us, each one of us, and all of us together. And we carry that knowing out into the world with us and let it shine forth through us and from us intentionally to everyone we encounter. We take this awareness with us. We invite it to come into our consciousness again and again to remind us to pray and to know the truth. With great gratitude and great faith in the power of the word, we let this word go into the creative law of mind and spirit, which always says yes. We let it go to manifest its fullness and wholeness in us and all around us now, opening our eyes to perceive the truth of beauty and wholeness everywhere we look and in everything we hear and see. We let this word go with love. We bless it, and we know that in the mind of God, it has always been the truth, and that mind is our mind. And so it is. I invite you to stand and join me now in the affirmation for the day. As we say together, my spiritual community sustains my faith and lifts me when I'm down. I'm grateful for the prayers, classes, music, and opportunities to serve, give, learn, and celebrate. I'm grateful to be able to do this for others here too, where all are welcome. I am at home here, and it is good, and so it is. And that is even true of souls in fur bodies. You may be seated. I want to invite the ushers to come forward now. This is our sacred time of giving. If you are joining us online and you'd like to text a donation, you can feel free to do that. The number is 415-779-7613, as it appears up here on the screen. And on your bulletin, those of you in the room, on the back side, lower right-hand corner, are all the ways you can give if you choose to do that this morning. And for all of us, our presence here is also a gift. that we are giving this morning. So what we want to be able to do is to bless the gift. Not only this gift being given in this moment, but all the gifts we have given this week, all the gifts Golden Gate has given out into the world this week. And so we're going to bless those together by saying this in unison. So I invite you to hold your gift to your heart, or if you're with a loved one, to hold it in your hands together as we say this. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Please go
The snack machine of life is unlimited. The snack machine of life is unlimited. The snack machine of life is unlimited. There's enough for us all. Whatever you get doesn't take away from me. Whatever I get doesn't take away from you. Whatever we get doesn't take away from anyone. There's enough for us all. Sometimes I feel a twinge of jealousy till I remember we're all just fine. And if somebody happens to envy me, that's their problem, not mine. 'Cause the snack machine of life is unlimited. The snack machine of life is unlimited. The snack machine of life is unlimited. There's enough for us all. I know that your abundance won't take away from me, and my abundance won't take away from you, and our abundance won't take away from anyone. There's enough for us all. I'm so happy for the blessings you get, and I know that you're happy for me. And if we don't have just what we want just yet, we'll celebrate together eventually. 'Cause the snack machine of life is unlimited. The snack machine of life is unlimited. The snack machine of life is unlimited. There's enough for us all. I know the blessings you have won't take away from me. You know the blessings I have won't take away from you. We know the blessings we have don't hurt anyone. There's enough for us all. There's enough for us all. I know that there's enough for us all in the snack machine of life.
Woo! I like that. The snack machine of life. I like that. Yeah. Let's all visit the snack machine. In fact, the snack machine is going to be on this table over here in just a little while. But in the meantime,
Don't want to do that when people are getting hungry.
we do, all of us, as community, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, we accept all of the offerings here and here with great gratitude. And we send them out into the world today with the thought that they help to create a larger sense of community everywhere that they go, to reduce fear and increase connection. And so it is. Now, if you are here with us for the very first time this morning, I want to draw your attention to the back table where Galen is standing back there and invite you to pick up a welcome packet. You will find a blue card like this in the welcome packet. If you fill this out and turn it in back there, we will give you a little book called Nourishing Thoughts. And this little book is a gift to you as a thank you for coming, and also our invitation to you to come back. We'd love to have you be a part of our community, and we would like to welcome you back the next time you come as well. Also, anything else on that table, too, all the flyers and things are there to be picked up and taken with you. And I want to thank all the people who helped set up today, helped do snacks, helped do the altar, this wonderful altar this morning that the Frost family did, has all kinds of Science of Mind books up there that form the basis of the philosophy of our community, and also has been constantly running our 40th anniversary slideshow. So you might want to step over there and look at some of those pictures. You might be in them. Oh, and let's applaud for everybody that participated in helping do this morning. And also, once again, for Lauren Mayer, thank you for the music. And today is the first Sunday of September. How many of you have a birthday in September? Stand up, we're going to sing you happy birthday. And if you have a birthday at home, happy birthday, September. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear September. Happy birthday to you. Yay. We celebrate all of you. And we invite you to talk to Ellen Nicosia, who's having a birthday this month, right here in front. She is the one who is receiving all of the volunteer signups for our 2 sessions coming up at the San Francisco Marin Food Bank. Those take place at the Food Warehouse in San Rafael on either Tuesday, September 12th or Tuesday, October 10th from noon to 2. You can sign up for both or either one. Talk to Ellen if you'd like to be on that list. Otherwise, take her contact info and leave her a voicemail or an email with all of your contact info and the date you would like to participate. Membership classes are beginning next Sunday. If you are not a member at Golden Gate and you want to explore that possibility, join me online from 1:30 to 3:30 for the next 3 Sundays, where you'll learn more about Golden Gate and what makes us tick. You are not required to join just because you take that class. It's free, by the way. But those 3 classes in their entirety are required in order to become a member. So if you're thinking about it, if you want to explore that idea, this is the thing to do. Then there will be a new member reception on Friday the 29th of September. And on October 1st, which is the first Sunday in October, we'll have our official new member welcoming right here. And you want to all be here to stomp and whoop for our new members. You can sign up on the back table for the membership class, and you can also do it by emailing our administrator, Sonia, at administrator.ggcsl.org. And that way you can get the link and the membership materials that you'll need for the class. You can also do this if you are at a distance and you're watching us online, because we accept members from wherever. So if you're interested in that, you can also email Sonia and become part of the online class. Even though you won't be here on the Sunday for the welcome, we can welcome you this way as well. So you're also welcome. And if you like to sing, if you sing in the car, if you sing in the shower, if people tell you not to sing, but you like to do it, see Bruce right over here. Stand up, Bruce. Oh, great. So talk to Bruce Stagbrook if you're interested in coming to sing. They meet here on Sunday mornings now at 9:20 and practice some songs that eventually they will be singing for the congregation. And you're all welcome to participate in that. And lastly, I want to let you know that this Wednesday's meditation is our prayer and meditation service. So we meditate together in silence. We share answered prayer stories, and we also take prayer requests and do prayer as we are there together online. You're all welcome. There's no charge, and you find that by going to our website calendar under Classes and Events tab. You'll see the calendar. Just look for that Wednesday night event, and you can do that. The other thing I want to tell you is in your bulletin, it does say that the Roots class is Tuesday night. We've shifted the last 4 classes we're going to do to Thursday night because of a conflict that's coming up. So I know you're not necessarily part of that class, but just so you know, in case anybody asks you, that class is going to be meeting on Thursday for the next 4 weeks. And finally, prayer. I said it's important to us. It's actually important to you and to all of us. Not just prayer for the community or prayer for the leadership council or me, but prayer for yourselves. And it's always easier to have somebody else do that because we're wrapped up in our own stuff. So it's good to have a neutral person do prayer for us sometimes when we're really stuck. Hence, Leslie and Ann are both available at the prac table this morning for prayer before you leave today. Just go over to the table after the service, and one of them will take you back here in a private space to do prayer for you. Or you can put a request in the box. I'm going to invite the practitioners now to surround the room so that we can join together in prayer. And yeah, I know this is the second Sunday. It was very long-winded. Apologies, but you seem to be holding up. So let's turn within one more time and bless this morning. We're so grateful to know that God is in this room, in every one of us, throughout the space, that there's nothing here that isn't God. We can't be abandoned. We can't lose it. We can't be separate from it, no matter what it feels like in the moment. So in spite of any appearance of separation or fear, we set that aside and recognize the wholeness that is in this space and always has been so, never diminished, never damaged, never reduced or lost in any way. It is within each one of us, whole, full, complete. That mind of God is our mind. We're using the mind of God. And what we need to know is available to us through the mind of God within us. We turn to that. We listen. We watch. We open to guidance. And we follow it. And with gratitude, we know that this week is already blessed. And we step into it with an expectancy of wonderful good happening in our lives. And we welcome that in advance with great delight. So we send this word out into the creative law and just let it be so. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join us now for the closing blessing and song. We say this closing blessing together. I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. And now we're going to sing Stand, which you all know.
Another Karen Drucker favorite. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a now we gotta dance. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. Keep change. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. Come on, let's dance. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let's have some clapping. Peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. Love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. One more time. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. The last last line. We are making a new world now. Big finish. We are making a new world now. Have a wonderful week.